Genesis chapter 25, we have insight into the birth of Jacob and Esau. Scripture tells us that Isaac prayed their father that his wife would have a child because she was barren. And so the Lord answered the prayer, and she became pregnant. And the two boys that were in her womb, they were struggling even before they were born. And Rebecca, she said, "Lord, what's this all about?" And so she inquired of the Lord concerning these two that were in her womb. And the Lord said unto her, "Two nations are in thy womb, and two manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels, and the one shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger." And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins. And the first came out all red and hairy, and the other came out smooth. And so the first one was called Esau, the second was called Jacob. But now listen to this. And after that came his brother out, that was Jacob, and his hand took hold of Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob, and Isaac was 80 years old when she bare him. So this struggle, this conflict between these two boys, these two brothers, even before they were born, and then they were fighting over who was going to be born first. Well, of course, we know that Esau was the first to arrive, which meant he had the birthright. And that's a very important thing in these days that we're talking about. But yet, we find that to Esau, it wasn't no big deal. But obviously, to Jacob, it was. And I find it to be interesting that the name Jacob, Jacob, John, Jim, James, basically the same name, but they all mean the same thing, supplanter. Supplanter simply means schemer, conniver. And thus, Jacob lived up to his name, because we remember the story about how that his brother Esau came in from the field. He had been hunting, and he was tired, and he was hungry, just extremely, extremely hungry. And here was Jacob, and he was more of a homebody. And he was preparing some soup with some lentils. And Esau came out of the woods and says, "Oh, I'm hungry. Give me some of that food." And Jacob saw his opportunity. He says, "Well, sure, but you give me the birthright." And Esau said, "It's no big deal to me." And so he sold his birthright for a little bit of food. Well, you see, here's the thing. As I said, Jacob, he lived up to his name, a man who loved to scheme and connive, trying to get his way. But a lot of times, God has to go through a process to change personalities like that. I'm glad that he does, because Jacob had a lot to learn and a whole different perspective of life. But, God is so gracious. This is Pastor Jack King with the gospel on the radio broadcast.